El Clasico is just a few days away, and because the hype and anticipation is building with every single passing day, today we are going to keep talking about it, and we're going to go over what I think the starting 11s of both Real Madrid and Barcelona might look like on Sunday. Before we get into the likely lineups, we're going to ignore this one here because I don't think these are the lineups. I've got my own set up. We're going to have a quick look at the form going into the games. Starting with Barcelona, where they beat Real Sociedad 2-1 for the international break. They followed that with a 2-1 loss to Paris Saint-Germain at the Montjuic. I want to say that's where they're playing their games nowadays in the Champions League. Followed by a 4-1, massive 4-1 loss to Sevilla. And not just massive in terms of the scoreline, massive for Real Madrid. But they followed that once we returned from international break with a 2-1 victory over Girona. And then a very powerful 6-1 over Olympiacos. I mean, it wasn't powerful until the player got sent off. But then when Olympiacos lost their player, Barcelona just kind of took over that game. On to Madrid, where of course we have the thumping 5-2 to Atletico Madrid, which was a very big reality check and a wake-up call to a lot of Madridistas. I don't even want to say any more about that, to be completely honest. We need to forget about this game. But it was a reality check. It was a wake-up call and one that was needed, and preferably like it was earlier in the season rather than later when important things are on the line and every single point matters. Next, we had the Champions League game against Kairat Almaty away from home, where we won resoundingly 5-0, followed by a 3-1 victory over Villarreal. A very tough game. It was second against third, I believe, at the time, and it helped us secure first place going into the international break. We came back after the international break and picked up a very difficult 1-0 victory over Getafe away from home. We've beaten them 1-0 in like all our games away from home in the past like 3 or 4 years, so this is nothing new. And then we followed that with a 1-0 victory over Juve, which could have been a very different scoreline, but it ended up 1-0 and we picked up a victory going into El Clasico. Now moving on to the lineups, where we're going to start with Barcelona. This is how I think the team will set up. We have, let's go through the team first of all. Szczesny in goal, Araujo and Balde as the fullbacks, Eric Garcia and Kubasi as the centre-backs, Pedri, Casado and De Jong as the midfielders, Lamine Yamal, Rashford and Ferran Torres up front. And I say it like that because I'm not sure about Barcelona's injury situation. Like, I know who's out. I know Dani Olmo is out. I know Lewandowski is out. I don't know if Koundé is out, because Koundé's apparently become a doubt as well with a muscle injury. He might not make it. I don't know if Rafinha will make it, because the other day in his press conference, Hansi Flick said he expects Rafinha to be back, but now it's looking like Rafinha might not be back for a while. So I don't know whether he's going to be back. Ferran Torres I thought was out and injured, but it's apparently saying that he isn't, and he's ready and he's fit. So I don't know what's exactly going on. I don't know who is available and who isn't in regards to everyone. I know some people who aren't available. I don't know about Koundé. I don't know about Ferran Torres, and I don't know about Rafinha. But this is how I do think they'll set up. Like the players I know, Pedri's definitely playing, Lamine is definitely playing, Rashford is definitely playing, De Jong is definitely playing, Eric Garcia, Kubasi and Szczesny are all definitely playing. Araujo, if Koundé isn't playing, is playing, and then Balde is definitely playing. I mean, this is how I think they'll set up. I don't think they'll swap Casado for another midfielder, maybe like an offensive one, because having De Jong and Casado is a bit defensive-minded. And they are at the Bernabeu, but Barca's never been the team, especially under Hansi Flick, to sit back. So whether they play like this, I don't know. Whether they're forced to play like this, maybe. But they are a very strong team, and they look very good regardless of who's playing. It's Barcelona. Regardless of who's missing or who isn't. Obviously, the level does drop a little bit, but they're all quality players. Moving on to Real Madrid, this is how I think we are going to set up, and it is pretty much the exact same team, except for you're swapping Mastantuono for Brahim Diaz. We have Thibaut Courtois in goal, of course. Fede Valverde, Asensio, Eder Militao and Carreras along the back line. Arda, Guler, Tchouameni and Jude Bellingham across the midfield. And personally, my favourite midfield Real Madrid currently have. There is no one I would replace in this midfield for any other player. I would like a Camavinga in here somehow, but there's no one I would drop for Camavinga right now. So this is my favourite midfield for Real Madrid. And offensively, this is my favourite offence and attack for Real Madrid right now. We have Vini Jr., Kylian Mbappe and Franco Mastantuono. Like I said, I think Xabi Alonso rested Mastantuono against Juventus. Or maybe it was a tactical decision and he saw something Brahim Diaz offers or could do that Mastantuono can't. I don't know. But I do think this is going to be the attack for El Clasico. I do think Mastantuono will play. He's just too good. He offers too much, both off the ball and on the ball, but more so off the ball. His work rate, his willingness to do the hard yards, and his willingness to press and constantly run and put on pressure. He's just that good and that amazing in that part of the game. And he's also very, very good on the ball. I think he will play. Mbappe and Vinny, I don't need to say anything. Of course they're playing. Of course they are. Across the midfield, there's no other choice. There's no right back. If Trent starts, I will be very, very surprised. If Trent Alexander-Arnold starts, and Dean Huijsen, for that matter of fact, starts, I will be very, very surprised. Because Trent's only had 1 or 2 training sessions under his belt. If you count today and maybe tomorrow's, he'll have 3 or 4. But he hasn't started since his injury, or had any minutes since his injury. So I don't know if he will play. And Dean Huijsen, even worse than him. He hasn't started any... I mean, he's going to train today with Real Madrid, but he's had no training sessions besides today. He'll probably have a training session tomorrow, so he'll have 2 training sessions under his belt. But just like Trent, he's got no game time at all. Since his injury, he has had no match time at all. So with Fede likely being forced out right back and Asensio probably being the centre back, this is how I see the midfield being. I don't see Tchouaméni dropping to centre back. I don't see... Alonso hasn't done that yet. And that's because we haven't had that many injuries until now at centre-back. I mean, if Asensio gets injured, we don't have a choice. He's forced to drop back, all right? Because there's no one else. Unless he tries that 17-year-old in our Castilla team whose name I forgot. And that was apparently a lot of hypes around and had a lot of potential. But then he also picked up an ACL injury and done his knee, and that was out for a season. So unless he trusts him, which I very, very, very highly doubt he will... The only way Tchouaméni starts if there's something wrong with Asensio, which I don't think there is. So this is the midfield. This is the attack. This is the team I think Real Madrid will set up. Honestly, I just don't see that many changes. I don't see why there would need to be that many changes. You trust the players you've been using and you trust the team you've been putting up more or less. And this is the team Xabi Alonso has been utilising more or less when you take all the injuries into consideration. But anyway, I am going to call the video there. Like I said, with every passing day, with every passing minute, the hype just gets bigger and bigger and the anticipation builds more and more. I have not looked forward to an El Clasico more in a while because it's just having a setup and having the manager that we do and having the players that we do is just giving me a sense of hope and hype. But anyway, I am going to call the video there. Thanks for watching and peace.